live stream has started apparently, and I haven't got quick, get the guitar. That's a version of the theme song. Not even sure I'm playing the right chords anymore. Anyway, this is the Daily Freakout. Oh. So, if you're you could be watching this on the TikTok. You could be watching this on YouTube. You could be watching this in the future and going, "What the far out is this crap?" You can't swear on these things, can you? Can you swear on these things? I don't know. Anyway, I've had a bunch of stuff happen since the last time I did a live stream or did a podcast like this, or an attempted podcast like this, and I'm going to talk about them because I feel like I have to. I absolutely have to. So, not that long ago, I was driving my car to work at the burger joint that I work at, and the police pulled me over. And the police said, "Hey mate, do you realise that your car has been unregistered for almost 8-9 months now?" And I said, "Holy hell, no, I did not." So my car was unregistered, and I'm now not allowed to drive it. So I'm not allowed to take it on the road. I'm not allowed to drive anymore. It's all done. And so it means that I'm no longer able to drive. It's terrible. It means I now can't do little side gardening jobs like I used to earn a little bit of extra money. It means that if I do want to add income or add a job and more work to my life, I can't do it because I can't get anywhere. So it means for me that I'm going to be trying to focus so much more on trying to do some online content, including trying to squeeze into my already tight mornings half an hour of talking about the news and talking about things that are going on and stuff like that. So if you are even slightly entertained by anything that I've done here, please press fancy buttons and stuff like Piper has done on TikTok there. So the goal is to do a breakfast radio show eventually. I've said that a few times. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to squeeze it in the morning when I don't have much to talk about. What else has happened? Oh yeah, 2 days ago, I was walking, it was my break at work, and I've walked out around, and as I'm walking out the door, my left knee twinged, and it twinged in a way that I'm pretty sure it was the ACL that was twinging. Didn't break, it didn't pop or anything, because that's really bad when you hear a big pop and you just can't walk anymore, and then you need surgery and rehab and all that kind of stuff. But I felt enough of a twinge that I limped across the road to the park where I was going to go have my lunch. Fantastic little park that I get to go have lunch at. I'm very pleased that that's where my lunch is had. And all my future flashed before my eyes, because part of me wants to go camping a lot more and hiking. Part of me wants to actually at some point try, it's probably never going to happen, but try to live out of my backpack for a really long extended time, like go spend months and months, maybe years in the bush, predominantly in the bush. I've been daydreaming and planning it and working it out and stuff like that. And part of me thinks that I want to go mostly live in the bush, but you pop into towns every now and again and resupply, and maybe like once a month have a hotel visit and have a shower and all that kind of stuff. So that's the daydream for the future. But if my ACL goes and I can't walk, I obviously can't do that. And I've been noticing both my feet and my knees and things have been really sore lately, like really sore. And it's partly because I work on concrete floors standing all day. It's partly because I'm a bit overweight still. I'm trying to lose weight by improving my diet. It's partly because I'm walking as much as I'm walking, which is both good and bad. All that kind of stuff. And if I can't walk and hike, then this whole sort of plan or idea, hope that I've got for the future goes out the window. And so I had this moment where I was just, my knee did this little twinge, and I'm just like, oh my God, is my whole life ruined? Is it all over? So what I'm hoping is that I can work and do some kind of sitting down work, which is similar to what I'm hopefully doing right now. So again, if you pop a little like or a subscribe or all that kind of stuff, you're genuinely helping me out quite a lot, because I really want to be a content creator, damn it. And it's funny, content creator has such a bad bad connotation to it. I think a lot of people are really against it and stuff, but I watch a lot of YouTube videos of people of all different ages, different genders, different things, different races, religions, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like it's a really good thing that we have now, where we have such an insight into other people's not only creativity but also their lives and stuff. I would never have experienced or known about the way certain people live if it wasn't for content, quote unquote, content creating YouTube videos and stuff like that. Watching middle-aged men go camp. Like, I remember one I watched was this guy, he went camping, and he went stealth camping, where you camp somewhere that you shouldn't camp, kind of thing. And he camped in a roundabout in the middle of a town. And for him, it was effectively, thank you, Em, it was effectively just him drinking in a roundabout, because he was one of those guys that when he did the camping, the stealth camping, he would take alcohol and then just smash a few cans of lager and get a bit drunk and then pass out. So not my kind of thing, but he was doing it, and he had a fair few followers and likes and views and things like that. And it was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Why can't I do something like that? I'm not sure I want to go camping in a roundabout, but I do kind of want to go stealth camping. So things like that. So I've got to finish off a bunch of videos because I'm behind on that like crazy. It's ridiculous. Have I got this cable here? There we go. Let's just start charging something so it doesn't run out on us. And so a nice peaceful roundabout. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like he was literally in some shrubs and in some bushes. And I just was like, that doesn't seem like a nice place to sleep. Like, as much as you can have an adventure anywhere kind of thing, you're effectively being homeless when you do something like that, and especially in a roundabout. And I mean homeless in the unfortunate bad sense of the word, not the... Anyway, there's lots of versions of homeless, isn't there? There's homeless because like things have gone so badly that you have to... you've got no other options and you're destitute and you're depressed and it's terrible. Or there's homeless where you've sort of decided to do it in this day and age, where you're living in a van down by the river, which is hopefully where I want to be by the end of the year. I want to be in a van down by the river. I actually got to poke my head into a van yesterday, and I literally just went, oh, this would be nice to live in. It's so crazy. I'm currently in a 3-bedroom house, and I'm longing to live in a van. Who knows what kind of topsy-turvy world are we living in? That's the kind of topsy-turvy world we're living in. Speaking of topsy-turvy worlds that we're living in, I consider myself a philosophical anarchist, which means that I don't want everyone to just go nuts and go wild and stuff, but I don't want people to tell us what to do. I don't want rulers. I don't want presidents that have got so much money that they can get away with the things that certain presidents have gotten away with. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say on these things. I got kicked off Reddit the other day because I suggested Jack Doherty would have some sense smacked into him. I've actually got a 3-day ban on Reddit just because I alluded to it. I didn't say it specifically, I alluded to it. So I don't know what I'm allowed to say on these kind of things. So we have to skirt around it and stuff, which is interesting the way that changes our language in life. That's a weird thing that our language and the language of humanity is being changed, because if we say a certain word, people are going to get upset. And I think it's nice to not upset people. Try your best to not upset people. But at the same time, we all need to be much nicer to people, but we also need to be much tougher, because we shouldn't get too upset by what people say. We should worry about the intent just as much. In fact, I think we should always worry about the intent. I could say the most horrible, terrible thing, but if you know me, you know that I don't mean it. I don't want that to actually happen, etc. It's the same reason why the CUNT word is here in Australia is used as a fun word, because we know that when we say it, we don't mean it. Your best mate knows how you feel about them, so you can call them the most terrible thing, and they'll be like, oh yeah, he's just joking. That's ridiculous. I can't believe you said the most disgusting thing there. But if you don't know someone, you don't call them that, because you don't know them, and they don't know you, and they don't know if you're, they don't know how you're feeling. They don't know that you're just joking or whether you're being serious. So I consider myself a philosophical anarchist. I just don't want any rulers. I don't want anyone telling me what to do. I think a police force is a somewhat necessity of a community and a society, but I don't think we need presidents or royalty or anything. And speaking of royalty, finally, it looks like somebody might actually have some serious consequences happen. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been arrested. It says here he's been photographed leaving a police station in the United Kingdom despite his efforts to avoid the media after his arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office. So he's apparently left the police office. I don't like that. Good. Absolutely good. Oh, we've got some flashing. We'll turn a different light on. There we go. Is that good lighting? I don't know if that's good lighting or not. Speaking of which, any other guys out there have a t-shirt or a shirt and they like the neckline? I like this neckline on me. I don't know. I've got no problem with walking into royal castles and things and pulling them out by their teeth or by their ears and arresting them and putting them in jail. This guy, even though he's had all this media scrutiny and all this terrible stuff happen to him, he's still living in luxury. He's still probably got people working for him doing all the things that he needs to have done, where somebody's probably cooking and cleaning for him. He's still getting picked up by other people, driving him home in a Range Rover. Like, this guy is not doing it tough. And no matter how much he might say or try to avoid public scrutiny, and it's a very tough time for us and stuff, it's like, no. There is some very reputable evidence and suggestion that you did some very, very terrible things. And you deserve to be punished for it. Society should not allow people to get away with certain disgusting, terrible things just because they're supposedly better. They're elites. They're royal. Because there's no such thing as that. There's no such thing in general as humans being better than other humans. There might be someone who is better at a certain sport than you or than us. There might be somebody, like for instance, Tiger Woods is the best golfer probably of ever, or at least he's in that discussion, for sure, absolutely. That doesn't make him a better person than any of the rest of us. Michael Jordan, it's shown recently, is a bit dodgy, potentially with grabbing a little kid's ass. Not cool. He was a great basketball player, but he might be a bit of a douchebag. Gambling issues and all that kind of stuff. So, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you're a better person than any of us. And just because you were born into a family that says that you're a prince and stuff, it's such an outdated concept. I don't understand how anyone thinks that royalty is of any value to anyone ever, especially now. We live in a time where that's just not the case, and I don't understand why there are still people that like defend royalty. So it's fantastic to see that the police have arrested him and charged him, even though it sounds like he's gotten out probably on some kind of bail of some kind. I don't know exactly how it works. It's funny. An official quote. Police confirmed in a news statement that Andrew had been released from custody while under investigation. On Thursday, we arrested a man in his 60s from Norfolk on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The arrested man has been released under investigation. We can also confirm that our searches in Norfolk have now concluded. Former press secretary for Andrew's mum, Queen Elizabeth, said he looked dazed and he looked shell-shocked. He was slouched down. Good. He should do something to himself to remove himself from society, in my opinion. If you know what I mean? If that's... Do the honor... Like, that's the... What was the Japanese term? Seppuku or whatever it is. There is literally no honor. And this is the kind of thing where it's like... I understand why he's gotten to the place that he's gotten. Because he was the second son, or the second son. I don't know if his sister's above him or was born first. But he's born into this life of everyone loving you and all that kind of stuff. Billy Connolly had a great joke about the Queen, saying that the Queen thought that the world always smelt like fresh paint. Because whenever she went, there was always someone ahead of her just painting, getting everything painted for her, because everyone was always trying to put on a good show and a big show and stuff for the Queen. And so there's this world that they live in that's not attached to reality. And it's the same for rich people. It's the same for people of power, all that kind of stuff. They think that they've hit a home run, but they were born on second. And it's like other people are slogging through life, and these guys get this amazing leg up, which allows them to then progress and do all these. Sometimes they do amazing things. I mean, I don't like royalty, but Prince Charles has done some good things. He hasn't done all good things, and you've got to assume that he's done some messed up stuff too. Like, how much did he really know about Diana's death? Like, who knows? But why are these people of interest to us? Why is Princess Diana marrying Prince Charles? Why is that of any interest to anyone? Oh, I got a dog here. And if you're just listening to this, you won't see that Ash is here, so you should watch the live streams whenever you get a chance. Go to YouTube. There's a version on there. Why are these people any better than us? They're not better than us. They should be abolished. We should not have things like royalty. I love you. And that's my view on it. So there. If you've good morning, Mona. If you've got a thought or an opinion on royalty, let me know. I just don't understand how anyone. And it's funny watching any of the Game of Thrones things, and you see how these people are like. Game of Thrones isn't real, of course, but it's based, especially the main books, are based on real things that happened. For instance, the Red Wedding, the crazy backstabbing of the Red Wedding, was based on a thing that actually happened, where they invited people in and they said, hey, we're all good, yeah, cool, share some food, awesome, and then they stabbed him in the back. And that's the kind of stuff that that really did happen. And it's because these people live in such weird worlds where the basic necessities of life are no longer necessary for them to focus on. You only need, in order to live and to survive, all you need is food, shelter, and water. That's all you need. 3 things: food, shelter, water. That's all you need. If you've got family and love and companionship, that's amazing. That's putting you into a thing. But if all those 3 things are taken for you and you don't have to worry about them, then other people, you then start thinking about all this other weird crap and stuff. And so when you're like with the Epstein stuff, if you've got so much money that you can pay people off to literally give you a child that you can then abuse and then just throw the child away, literally, and then pay someone off to not talk about it, that's because you've gotten too rich. You've gotten to the point, and you're a sick bastard. You've gotten to the point where your brain has stopped worrying about the basics in life, food, shelter, water. And I think philosophically, if you get back to just worrying about food, shelter, and water, you're probably going to do much better in life. But who knows? I've never been super mega rich, so I don't know whether my brain would continue to worry about the same things or would go nuts and crazy. I think it would go crazy. I really do think if I didn't have to go to work every day, I probably would go a little bit crazy. So yeah, a dedicated fan on one of my YouTube or Instagram YouTube shorts asked about my thoughts on recycling, and so here we go to talk about recycling. First and foremost, there is no such thing as away. You cannot throw things away. You only throw things into a big hole in the ground where we hope that over time it will break down and disintegrate. So the first step in recycling should always be to try to avoid things that are wasteful. So I really like, let's talk about heating and cooking. I like cooking and heating over fire because if I use trees, for instance, from my local area that I've chopped up, I've not only taken away a potential bushfire source, because I'm here in Australia, I've then also used a natural product, a natural thing with no chemicals or anything. So even though the smoke is not great, it's still better than like a chemical smoke. I then, when I'm finished cooking and doing all that stuff, am able to take the ashes from that fire and put them on the garden because they can benefit the garden in certain uses and stuff. And at the end of the day, I've then got nothing left. And the harm to the planet and to the world is minimalized. Is that a fucking rash? Where did that come from? That wasn't there earlier. I'm going to have to rewatch this video. That rash looks like it's just popped up as I've been talking. Did I scratch it or something? Wow. I now want to cover it and not reference it. There we go. If you're listening to this, you're missing out on some great stuff. And so that's the first step for me when it comes to things like recycling. You should try to avoid using something that's going to have a waste product and going to have waste. If you like how people complained about about not being allowed to use plastic shopping bags. My problem, just don't use bags that you use once and then you throw away. So when that first came in here in Australia, I bought a bunch of those plastic bags and I still use them. And I've never had to use a plastic bag or a paper bag or anything like that because my brain doesn't think, use it, chuck it. It's all about using it and then washing it, cleaning it, and then reusing it, or whatever you can where you can reuse stuff. So when it comes to recycling, because you can't be sure that when they say we're going to take this away and recycle it, you can't be sure. You don't know if that's what's actually going to happen. You need to take it to yourself to try and not do that, or to try to avoid allowing it to go into landfill and try to get it to recycle on its own in a way, I guess. For instance, if you I look across here and I've got a lot of cardboard boxes around here, and people keep telling me get rid of the cardboard boxes, and I'm like, yeah, I probably should get rid of the cardboard boxes. But you know what you can do with cardboard boxes? You can put them down on your garden beds when you're trying to suppress weeds and kill off weeds. And even though a lot of people will say, oh, cardboard boxes have got dyes in them and stuff like that, so they're not that great. They're not terrible, especially if you're only planting flowers and pretty things and you're not planting food. Nothing wrong with putting cardboard boxes down as a mulch layer, effectively, to suppress weeds in your garden. Compost. Don't throw away food scraps. Have a compost at home and put them into compost. Because even if you just you look after it a bare minimum, you're still going to get good soil and good nutrient-rich soil for your garden and stuff. And composting takes a bit of effort. It takes a bit of get to know it and stuff, because you do have to continue it and keep using it and working with it. But again, if we're focusing on food, shelter, water, and then maybe recycling or family, that's a fantastic way to do it. Or a fantastic way to live, in my opinion. Instead of going, I'm just going to put it in the bin and get rid of it, trying to recycle on your own property and trying to improve the soil by putting your food scraps in there and stuff. It just, to me, that's the kind of way to recycle, because I don't necessarily think that sending it off in the recycling bin is the best way to do it. If I remember correctly, the comment on the YouTube short asked about like other countries and stuff like that. And the unfortunate truth is we can't really stop, or we can't control other countries. And sorry, I'm trying to find it so that I can. Oh, playing myself. There we go. So here's the comment. I would love to know more about your views on recycling and the horror of the fact that a huge portion of the Western world still don't recycle, most of the US as an example. That's the unfortunate thing. And this is where I get somewhat depressive. And to end the show on a bit of a downer, I don't think humanity can be saved. I honestly don't. I think there's too many people like the Epstein elites who don't care. They fly private jets. They don't think about composting and recycling. They just throw things away. They use one-use plastic all the time. And I don't think, because it's harder. It is harder to live a recycling life than it is to live a one-and-done life. And most of us in this world, I think, try to live a one-and-done easy life. We try to make things easier for ourselves. Because I can't drive my car at the moment, I've had to either ride my bike or take the bus. And people are like, trying to think of ideas to help me avoid taking the bus. I love this bit of hair that I forgot to cut or missed cutting the other day. And I'm like, well, why am I trying to avoid the bus? What's wrong with the bus? I go for a short walk at either end of the bus, and then I sit down and look at my phone for 20, 30 minutes. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Sure, there might be some dodgy people and stuff on the bus, but most of the time it's perfectly fine and just comfortable and relaxing. Or even riding my bike. People are like, oh, that's a shame, you got to ride your bike. And it's like, well, the days when I do ride my bike, I get 2 hours of cardio exercise. That's great. That's better than going to the gym, because I'm doing something. Now, don't get me wrong. I get sweaty. I get tired. I have to worry about extra things. I've got to do this, do that. It's like it takes more effort. And I don't think an easy life is a good life. I don't think a hard life is a good life either. It's that in-between spot where you do some walking, you do some carrying, you do some lifting, and you keep your body active and moving and stuff. And many studies have shown that longevity and happy living well into older age is partly because of activity. People who are active and do things live well into their old age. So if you walk to work, or you take the bus, or you ride your bike, in my opinion, you're going to be better off. Now, unfortunately, I've spent the last couple of years being quite lazy and lethargic and all that kind of stuff, where I have been doing a lot of sitting, and I've been driving everywhere instead of walking and stuff. And luckily, because of my dogs, I've gone for walks, but most of the time it's been very lazy. And I think I'm showing the signs of it now, because I've got a stupid amount of extra weight at the moment, and my knees are starting to hurt. So I need to do something about it. And going for a bike ride or walking to the bus is actually really good for me. And unfortunately, I can't really affect the rest of the world, because they're going to do what they're going to do. And pessimistically, I have to just let it go and accept the fact that I think humanity has somewhat doomed this planet, and humanity in itself is somewhat doomed. Who knows exactly what's going to happen? Is it World War III? Is it apocalypse? Who knows? But all we can do, I guess, is watch a movie, hug a loved one, and try to think positively. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go hug my dogs. I'm going to go have a shower and then walk to the bus. and go flip some burgers. I hope you have a good day. And if you want to like, subscribe, comment, and do all that kind of stuff, I'd really appreciate it, because I desperately need to get off my feet every day and I want to make some more content. Hopefully I can get a van and do this every single day with your help. Come on, people. Looking in both cameras here. Thank you very much. This has been the Daily Freakout. The actual full one, not just the headlines. This is the full Daily Freakout. I will be trying to sell some records and some... where's the pick? I can't find a pick. God damn it. I've got so many picks lying around. And now... There's one. I'm going to be trying to sell some records and some books and stuff like that. So stay tuned if you want to buy some books and records and all that kind of stuff. Goodbye. This has been the Daily Freakout for Friday, the 20th February 2026.